Pro tip, if you are the CEO of a company with over 10 million clients, you probably don't want to send all those clients an email telling them who to vote for, because roughly about 50% of those clients, and it doesn't even matter which side you're on, whether you are on Team Trump or Team Biden, 50% of those clients are going to disagree with you. It doesn't matter which side you're on. Why would you sabotage 50% of your client relationships for one moment of gratification that you owned the opposing team? Well, that is exactly what David Barrett from Expensify did on Thursday, October 22nd, when he sent an email out to 10 million customers saying specifically that a vote for anything less than a vote for Biden is a vote against democracy. And I think David is about to have a rude awakening that not everyone agrees with him. Not everyone agrees with him. Listen, so in one of my conversations with Dr. Howard Asher on this channel, we've had several conversations around Trump derangement syndrome. He asked me about my relationship with my husband and whether or not my husband agreed when I made him watch MSNBC for hours on end every single day. And I said to him, well, I just always assumed that he agreed with me. And of course that turned out not to be the case, because my husband was covertly watching YouTube behind my back and was getting all sorts of ideas that weren't aligned with MSNBC. And that's totally fine. My husband was a very critical part of my journey of waking up and leaving the world of Trump derangement syndrome. But it seems that David here has probably made the same mistake. He has probably made the mistake of listening to the media and truly believing that everyone agrees with him. So let's take a look at the email that he sent out to his 10 million clients. I know you don't want to hear this from me, and I guarantee I don't want to say it, but we are facing an unprecedented attack on the foundations of democracy itself. If you are a U.S. citizen, anything less than a vote for Biden is a vote against democracy. I'm sorry, what? Excuse me? A vote for anyone is actually a vote in favor of democracy. That is what voting is, David. Or didn't you get the memo about how the Constitution works? Let's keep going. That's right. I'm saying a vote for Trump, a vote for a third-party candidate, or simply not voting at all. They're all the same, and they all mean I care more about my favorite issue than democracy. I believe Trump winning is more important than democracy. I am comfortable sitting aside and allowing democracy to be methodically dismantled in plain sight. So I actually got this copy of this email. I didn't get it from any of the news stories. I actually got it from a member of my locals community who posted it to the group and was like, WTF, what the hell is this email? And I apparently am not the only one that was a little perturbed by that. The member of my locals is not the only one that's a little perturbed by that, as we're going to see. But let's get through this entire email from David, who wants to tell everyone how to vote just like him. If the polls are accurate, there's roughly 50% chance that you agree Trump needs to go. Holy crap. So he actually understands that in sending out this email, he is pissing off 50% of the people receiving it. 5 million customers, perhaps more if the polls are wrong. You know what to do. Show up on November 3rd and vote for Biden, or even better, don't wait until then. Vote today. Go to vote.org if you need help figuring this out. The rest of this email is intended to address the concerns of those who disagree, and I'll try to take the most likely questions in turn. And I don't think that these are the most likely questions at all, but let's just play make-believe for 1 red second. Why do you care David, why do you care so much about democracy? Democracy is the core to our business success in a variety of ways. Internally, we are famously a flat organization. Dude, that's a bad idea. That is a really bad idea. And P.S., David, you've probably statistically just pissed off 50% of your workforce as well. So that's a really bad idea, and I think it's going to cause a lot of problems for your organization. But I digress. Maybe every single person that works for David is a Democrat, and no one is a secret Trump supporter, and no one was pissed off that he just sent out an email to 10 million customers telling them to vote for Biden. I could be wrong. I could be. Okay, let's keep going. No one reports to anyone else, and advancement is the result of meeting well-defined criteria as judged by the vote of those who have already advanced. Oh my God. David has literally created Lord of the Flies at Expensify. Listen, what he's talking about is probably a holacracy. That's probably the business model they have. Holacracies are notoriously difficult to actually maintain. They actually don't end up being... You know what holacracies are really horrible for? And this is ironic given the content of this email. They are horrible for diversity of thought. To really succeed in a holacracy, you have to have groupthink, which is probably exactly how this email was created. You have to have a groupthink environment because your means of success means pleasing other people. And so if you are outside of the group norm, or if you have different ideas, then you're probably not going to be very successful. And I think we can see exactly what the criteria is that David is speaking about. It's, you have to like Joe Biden. How we compensate each other is left up to a team vote as well. Wouldn't you like it if your salary was dependent on a team vote, especially of people who disagree in voting for Donald Trump if you happen to be a Trump supporter? I think I would keep my mouth pretty shut about my political beliefs if that was the case. Even our external business model depends on employees electing to adopt Expensify as individuals and then campaigning internally to get it adopted company-wide. At every layer, democracy is at the core, is our core competitive advantage, both as our company and as a nation. But the advantage is only as strong as the clarity of our rules and the fairness of their application. Any attempt to disrupt the rules or apply them unfairly is a direct threat to the strength of our company and our strength as a nation. David, do you know that it's the Democrats that are trying to do away with the Electoral College, which is the foundation of how our presidential elections have worked basically forever? Like, you don't think that's disruptive to the way democracy works in this country? I'm going to go ahead and say, yes, it is. Why do you want to give all the power to cities, David? Because that's what you're doing when you're getting rid of the Electoral College. You're taking all the power away from the smaller populated states, and you're giving it all to the major metropolitan areas who, by pure coincidence, I'm sure, are democratically controlled. Why do you want to take power away from all of the states and only give it to a few core metropolitan areas, David? That doesn't sound very democratic to me. I digress. Let's keep going. What gives you the right to tell me what to do? The First Amendment. No, David, no. Well, I mean, listen, the First Amendment does give you the right to express yourself like a jackass, but just because you can doesn't mean you should. I'm just saying. To be clear, you don't need to listen. Well, he's got that right. But the First Amendment exists to encourage people like you and me to find some way to talk about the issues that matter, set aside our differences, and find a common ground on which to collectively govern 331 million citizens. Yes, democratic self-rule can be inconvenient. I'm surprised he didn't say uncomfortable. But a burden of democracy that this is literally our job, so I'm asking all of us to take this seriously. So David cares so much about finding common ground with people who disagree with him that he sent an email out demanding they vote like he does. I don't know, man. I think it's a little disingenuous. I'm just saying. But your company, shouldn't you remain neutral? Yes. Yes. That is really good advice. Expensify depends on a functioning society and economy. Who created the best economy in history? Who was that? Who created the best economy in history, David? Was that Donald Trump? I think it was Donald Trump. Not many expense reports get filed during a civil war. As CEO of this business, it's my job to plot a course through any storm. And all evidence suggests that another 4, or as Trump has hinted, 8 or more. These people don't know what a joke is. 8 or more years of Trump leadership will damage our democracy to such an extent, I'm obligated on behalf of shareholders to take any action I can to avoid it. I am confident our democracy and Expensify can survive a Biden presidency. I can't say the same about Trump. It's truly as simple as that. Well, not surprising, and there may be more to this email, man. This is the only portion that was posted in my locals community. There may be more to it, but I think we've seen enough. Even if there is more, I think we've seen enough. And I think it's fair to say that Not everyone was happy about this. Actually, we're going to look at this one first. This is a tweet from Ashley St. Clair, posting this message from an anonymous source, basically saying, let's get the big photo up here. There we go. Hi all, submit an expense by 10/29. I will run reimbursement, download records, and delete Expensify on 10/30. Expensify sent out an email directly advocating to vote for Joe Biden. We've paid them through 10/30. We will not pay them again. I will be in touch post 11/3 with our new expense platform. So that's one response to it, but a nicer response to it, I think, is this email from Daniel M. Rothschild. Apparently, he responded to David's email with this nicely composed response. David is an executive director at George Mason University, so higher education of all places. But here's what David had to say, or excuse me, Daniel had to say to David. If I call Daniel David, I apologize. Daniel, I apologize for that gross mischaracterization of your name. This is what Daniel had to say to David. Hi, David. I'm writing about the unsolicited email you sent last night to many of my colleagues, and I gather millions more users around the globe. Let's start by saying that I have no objection to you having strong feelings about politics. These strong feelings are shared by many at the moment among partisans of all stripes. Supporters of President Trump and Vice President Biden both cast this election in apocalyptic terms, the result, no doubt, of strongly held feelings. My feelings on politics aren't as strong as yours. I don't have strong feelings about the matter. But I do have strong feelings, strike that, reverse it. But I do have strong feelings about another matter, trust. For a variety of reasons, America is becoming a low-trust society. Conspiracy theories abound, relationships are breaking down on partisan lines, and institutions that are critical to a free and open society are being undermined, in many cases, by their own actions that destroy trust. Your email contributes to this breakdown in social trust. David, we selected Expensify as a vendor based on trust. After all, you have financial information for us organizationally as well as the personal information of hundreds of my colleagues. You also have our email addresses. We trusted you with private information. You have violated that trust. I also have strong feelings about another matter of public trust, the politicization of everything. A healthy society cannot exist if its political tribalism invades every commercial, civic, and community life. Team Red and Team Blue have gone from being who we vote for to, in many cases, lifestyle determinants. This is unhealthy to our civil fabric. And again, your email exacerbates all of this. Until last night, I saw Expensify as a pioneering company that made my life a lot easier. Now I see Expensify as a Team Blue company. To be clear, I'm not writing this as a member of Team Red. I'm not on that team. I'm not on any team. Millions of Americans are in the same boat. Frankly, we're sick and tired of all the partisans on both sides telling us we need to ally ourselves with one team or the other. And if I may be more blunt, we're especially tired of being told this by people who have built an app or look good on camera. You have no special insights on public policy or politics, and the fact that you think we need to have your opinions placed in our inboxes is vain and narcissistic. David, last night, you chose to violate the trust your company has built up and politicize your company. That is, I suppose, you're right. But this country cannot endure without trust and apolitical spaces, and fixing these underlying issues is a far deeper and more important issue than the next election. Sincerely, Daniel. Let's give Daniel a slow clap. Slow clap for Daniel. Yes. Yes, I'm also going to bet that Daniel's probably a Trump voter. But you know what? Listen, even if Daniel goes in and votes for Biden, I don't even care. I don't care. I don't care who Daniel votes for. This is exactly the right response. And I hope Expensify loses a metric F ton of customers. I mean, listen, I've never even heard of them before this, but any company that is willing to go out and politicize to customers, politicize their company to customers, to 10 million customers, to say, you should vote the way that our CEO demands you vote, or you don't believe in democracy. They don't deserve to be in business. I'm sorry, folks. Business is business. It should not be involved in politics. Listen, man, I understand. I still have clients through my business. I don't talk about politics with them ever. And unless they Google me, they have no idea what I think because I don't bring it up. And on occasion, I do use Donald Trump as an example in things, but I always say, I don't care who you vote for. This is not about politics. This is about an example of an existing personality type that every single one of you knows. I never talk about politics and I never campaign when I'm doing actual work. And every CEO and every business owner would be well deserved to do exactly the same thing. This is nuts, man. Dude, I cannot wait for this election to be over. I'm so sick of this. I know I've gotten myself into a position where I need to talk about this and think about this and record videos about this every flipping day now. But I can't wait for it to be over. I really can't. I guess that's all I got for right now, guys. If you enjoyed this video, I hope you'll consider subscribing to the channel, turning on notifications, leaving a comment, all that good stuff. And I'll see you soon.